Hi guys, I am so excited that the National Novel Writing Month is in November. That's right, I'm happy November and I love November. My daughter was born in November. It's in some countries it's Teacher's Day in November. A lot of things are going on in November, and of course it's the month for celebrating writing a novel, and I'm participating in this particular platform as well as I write the sequel to my premiere novel, The Catalyst, which many of you may know. I published in 2020, even though I had started it around 8 years ago. I started in Norway. That's why it takes place in Norway. I was inspired, but then life took its toll. In the 8 years, I had to pause. I had to deal with becoming a mother, with some family tragedies, with moving a lot, etc., etc. So there were a lot of breaks in between. So the Catalyst 2, though, I'm setting a goal for myself to complete in 2021 and hopefully publish it in 2021 as well. After the Catalyst will be re-released, hopefully in January or February, something like that, in the new year. Hopefully the sequel will then follow during next fall, hopefully. That's because I definitely have an idea of what I want in the second story. I actually got feedback from a lot of readers about the first one. I'm very excited to see how they connected with the characters, so I know the direction in which I want to go with the characters. So in terms of tips, I would definitely say for me, writing the sequel, I feel like I'm more inspired to write it, first of all, much faster, and second of all, I definitely have a lot to say, so that I believe it will be easier for me to complete the sequel, whereas writing the first one ever was definitely more difficult and took a long time, as I already mentioned. But even for the sequel, I'd like to also add that in terms of some tips, I would say definitely, when the inspiration hits, when you feel like you're connecting with the characters and you start to think like the characters, just write at that moment. Don't force writing if it's not coming. I had a lot of days when I just could not write. If you tell yourself, okay, it's not like jogging. You can tell yourself, okay, I will jog every morning at 6:30, and then before I go to work, whatever. Then you can stick to that, but you can't really tell yourself, okay, I will write one chapter a week, or I will write, 5 pages every morning. You technically can, but those pages will not necessarily be valuable, and you can always end up, omitting those pages later on. So I do not believe in sort of putting a specific timestamp and schedule for yourself of when to write, but only that you should write within a specific time frame in general. So general time frame, not specific. For example, like I said, I'm telling myself I'm planning to finish the sequel by the summer of 2021. Hopefully July and August the latest, and then hopefully with some additions by fall of next year it could be published, because the general timeline puts me at a more comfortable pace where I can feel like if inspiration strikes in April and I suddenly write 4 or 5 chapters, and then during May there's nothing, I can allow myself to take that mental break during May to replenish my energy, to feel inspired, to go out in nature, which is where the Catalyst takes place, to sort of get into the characters. I listen to a lot of music to also get into the characters. I know what's going to happen to my characters in a sequel, for example. I have that idea at the back of my head all the time. So I listen to music that I feel like either reminds me of the characters, or music that they would listen to. For example, if they're from another culture, I listen to specific songs from another culture that reminds me of them. So things like that. I get into character and I wait for inspiration to catch up to me rather than me forcing it externally. And another tip I would also say finally would be definitely believe that you can do it. It's so cliche, manifest it, believe it, envision yourself finishing, and imagine yourself just taking the last, put your pencil down, your computer down, shutting the laptop and just going, Okay, I did it. Envision that and just, allow that to be in the back of your head every time you're doing this. Take a deep breath, really manifest it, really believe in it. Because seriously, life will always get in the way. I'm a mother. I have so many distractions and this and that. But you know what? When the inspiration hits, I write. Even if it's at 3 a.m., I write. And also, one extra point I would say is when you're writing, make sure that if you include something like a detail, make sure it has relevance. Otherwise, omit it because the readers will question it. For example, in the catalyst, I include a scene with a flashlight, and I mention it. The character is carrying a specific type of flashlight as she's walking in the woods because it's dark. And the reader, if I never mention the flashlight again, it's not really relevant. Like, why am I talking about a flashlight? So what? Yeah, okay, people carry flashlights in the woods, right? But of course there's a significance, just to give you a little clue. And those of you who know the catalyst know that there are jinns involved, and jinns don't like metal, and flashlight is made of metal. Okay. So something like that, I later make sure that, everything in my chapters connected, and all the chapters are sort of not like off on a tangent, that they're connected, and they actually, every detail I include in the story is there for a reason. So that would be my personal tip for my first novel that I wrote. Just make sure that you don't confuse the readers. You don't want to put too much information all at once. You want to make sure you're pacing the story. But at the same time, you don't want to leave all the good stuff for the end. You want to make sure that you have some, things to hook the readers from the beginning, in the middle, and then, of course, wrap it up all in the end. So that is my 2 cents. I hope it's helped. Let me know if it's helped you. I hope it does. And happy National Novel Writing Month once again.